excited out of disbelief. Candles flying up, no fear, just greed. I done waited weeks on weeks, feel the bull run coming, bears dodge the stream. Try to get them on my team, moon boys too busy buying XRP. No face, no KYC, VPN locked in, out of state IP. Patreon made something out of nothing, ain't got a MetaMask, need to go and quit stunting. See phrase, only code to the fortune, better play a card, tell them Reddit boys chumping. Black swan, red swan, it's nothing, set a limit, orders getting out before the flood hit. Retail got me knowing when the fun is, made a bank run.
How is everybody doing? Welcome back to another live stream. All-time highs for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's above 111K right now. Absolutely amazing. And we're going to be discussing a lot in today's stream. We're going to be discussing potential resistance for Bitcoin, a potential rejection. We're going to be talking about when altcoins will truly feel the heat and the FOMO. Because right now, despite them pumping, they're not really pumping to the level which a lot of people expected. So we'll be discussing that. And, I'll be discussing, as always, my favorite altcoins and all that good stuff as well. Before we get into it, I thought of a very nice gift to give you guys. It's only going to last a couple days, so it's not going to be here for long. But there should be a discount available for the VIP group if you use at checkout the code ATH for all-time highs. This is an all-time high sale for Bitcoin. Code ATH at checkout. It's going to be gone in a couple of days, so use it while it's available. And that applies to any of the membership options: VIP, VIP Lifetime, Mentor, the course, the bundle, the whole lot. Use that code at checkout on the screen right now, and you're going to save yourself 25% off. It's limited time only, but definitely go and check it out if you want access to my Discord group that's active all the time, my buy alerts, my sell alerts, all that good stuff, okay? And I think we're going to be approaching a period in the market sooner than many people think where those sell alerts are going to come in very, very handy, okay? Because a lot of people are thinking there's many, many months left of this bull run and we're all going to be selling at the end of the year. But I have a little bit of a different viewpoint to that. I don't think it's going to last that long. We could be seeing a top on Bitcoin any week now, really, if we're being honest. I mean, we're at 111 right now. If we're at 111K right now, is it out of the blue to suggest that we could be at 120, 130 in a month? And that could be the top? Because I don't think that's ridiculous. I think that's very reasonable. Some would say it's conservative, but quite often conservative predictions actually become the base case. They become accurate because everyone always has this kind of bullish foresight when they're looking into the future. Quite often as humans, we are quite optimistic entities, right? We generally have a bit of a bias towards optimism. So I would say everyone's usually a little bit too optimistic. If everyone's saying 150K, it's probably going to be a bit less than that. And talking about the short term, I guess this is the short term, there's a massive trend line on Bitcoin, a rejection trend line. It's been going on since 2017. So that's not really the short term, but I'm going to apply it to the short term here because we are very quickly approaching that trend line. We are literally 1.5%, I believe, away from that trend line. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that that will be the top. What could happen is Bitcoin goes up, we hit this trend line around 113, 114K. Then we come back down maybe to like 104K, have a bit of a cool off. Alt might not even bleed out during that cool off. Alt could actually pick up the pace because, as we know, what causes alts to pump? Well, it's people quite often selling their BTC profits and then placing it into altcoins for that catch-up trade. Altcoins are essentially the beta play to BTC. So when people sell their Bitcoin, quite often they are moving it into altcoins. Obviously not always, but quite often that is the case. So it's very possible that we come up to this trend line, which every single time it's ever been hit, we reject. And that's been the case for basically 8 years. We come up to this trend line, we reject in the coming days around 113, 114. Then maybe we come back down. Okay. Maybe we come back down to like 104K, something like that, maybe in June. And then in July, we pick up the pace and put a top in maybe 117 to 125. Okay. That's my expectation here. That's what I'm thinking could be the possible scenario. But I always want to give this disclaimer. This is crypto. Anything is possible, of course. But I just think this is the most likely scenario right now, is we kind of pump up a little bit more. Then we find a local top. Then we have a bit of a dip. And then we find an all-time high around 120K later on in the year, maybe around July time. That's my expectation. The reason I think we are due a correction at some point soon, as in any day now, is because we've had, I think it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 consecutive weekly candle closes in the green without one red. 7 back to back weekly closes, not daily, weekly. So every single week has been bullish now for 7 weeks. Eventually, this is going to come to an end and we will see some form of a correction. That correction doesn't have to be the end of the cycle. That correction could just be a short-term correction and then we go higher once more. Because quite often what Bitcoin likes to do is it likes to form the first high, come back down, cool off a little bit, and then make a slight higher high. That's exactly what happened back in November and January last time. We can see it very clearly on the chart here. Bitcoin had its first high. You can see that. It then had a correction, usually around, 15% or so. And then it came up for another high, which was slightly higher. The next one was around 110. The first one was around 108. So it had a slight higher high. I think something very similar could happen again here with Bitcoin. Okay, so obviously it's Bitcoin, it's crypto, anything can happen, but this is personally the case that I think is pretty likely. It's not going to happen exactly to the T, but I think something similar could happen. And as always, these are my top altcoins. These are my favorite altcoins on the screen right now. And some people may be asking, what am I buying right now? I'm actually not buying anything. We've moved up too quick on Bitcoin for me to be buying. If we have a correction, maybe I'll be buying a little bit more. But I'm actually not buying anything right now. I will be buying if we get another opportunity. But right now, I'm kind of playing the Jerome Powell method of waiting and seeing. That's kind of the mode of operation that I'm in right now, is wait and see. Just hold. You have kind of 3 different dimensions in a market. You have a market for holding. You have a market for buying, you have a market for holding, and you have a market for selling. Is it a sell? Is it a hold? Is it a buy? Right now, I think it's a hold, but we're closer to a sell than we are a buy in some ways. With Bitcoin, definitely. With Sui, I would say we're closer to a sell than a buy. But then with other altcoins, maybe it's a bit more mixed, right? Certain altcoins, they haven't really pumped yet, like Peak. They are still quite strong buys right now, in my opinion. But there's other altcoins like maybe Sui or Tau, which I wouldn't necessarily be buying right now. Okay. So just a reminder, if you're joining into the stream right now, there is a current sale available on the VIP. This is a limited time sale. The reason I'm doing this is because Bitcoin has just reached a new all-time high, and I want to give you guys a little opportunity to get into the group. Use the code at checkout on any of the membership options, ATH. That stands for all-time high. And you're going to save yourself 20%. 25%, sorry. Not the conventional 20% discount. It's a 25% discount. All right. We're also going to discuss the Sui situation. A lot of people saying Sui got hacked. Sui did not get hacked. Okay, that's the first point. Sui did not get hacked. It was actually Cetus, the LP provider, the liquidity pool provider, that got hacked. So please stop saying that Sui got hacked. I know I put a post out on X saying that all the major layer ones have had a hack at some point. Sui didn't actually get hacked, but the point still stands. I believe BNB has had a hack. I think Solana has had hacks before, maybe on the chain or with the liquidity providers. Basically, every single layer one has had a hack of some way, shape, or form. And the big ones always come back. Sui has too many big backers, too many big names standing by it for this hack on Cetus to destroy the project. I mean, I don't see that happening. I've got to be honest. And in fact, I believe these coins have actually bounced up pretty quickly afterwards, right? So, I mean, not straight back to where they were, but they bounced up. If we take a look at the Sui price, Sui's up on the day, you know? What a terrible hack. I mean, it's up on the day, guys. Like, let's be real. This isn't going to affect Sui much. I'm not concerned. I'm not selling. I'm holding, and I'm still bullish, okay? So just don't listen to people who are trying to FUD Sui. They're only FUDing it because they missed it. Let's be real. They're only FUDing it because they missed it. It happens, right? It happens. It's human nature. You miss something, you're more inclined to try and bring that thing down as a coping mechanism. I see it all the time in crypto. People try and bring it down as a coping mechanism. People did it with Casper, right? I got into Casper at 3 cents, and I went heavy into it. I basically went all in at the time. And it went all the way up to 20 cents. And I remember, you know, people, any bit of news, anything they could get a hold of to try and FUD Casper, they would do it. Why? Because they missed it. Because they missed it. And it's the same with Sui. A ton of people missed Sui. They weren't smart enough to buy it. They didn't see the opportunity. And as a result, they try and FUD the project to make themselves feel better. But if they would have just bought it in the first place at 70 cents when I was, they just see it like a normal person, right? Which is, this is just a small hack, not even on Sui, happened on one of the liquidity providers, which is Cetus. And you would also know that hacks have happened on a ton of other projects and they've gotten through it, right? Especially when you're looking at the top 20 coins. It always happens. So I'm not concerned. But smash the likes on the stream, guys. We're going to get through the comments today. But I am expecting a little cool off at some point on BTC. And then the torch will be handed to the altcoins. Bitcoin will pass the torch on to the altcoins, pass the baton on to the altcoins. If you think of it like a relay race, Bitcoin is the first mover, and then it's going to pass the torch on to the next mover, which will be Ethereum. The baton will be passed on to Ethereum. Then they'll be running, and then the Ethereum baton will be passed on to the blue chips. Blue chips would include Sui, Ondo, Tau, Casper, those types of coins. And then from the blue chips, the baton will be passed on to the mid caps and then the low caps. And that's where you see at the end, the coins like Peak, the coins like IO.net, Mavia, the VIP secret low cap gem. That's when you see those types of coins pump. Is at the very end of the cycle, the very end of the cycle. They're not going to pump right now. A lot of the emphasis is still on Bitcoin. We're still very much in a Bitcoin season. And then it will gradually pass down through the ranks, okay? And in my view, Bitcoin dominance doesn't even need to drop that much. It really doesn't need to drop that much. Like some people are calling for an alt season like 2021. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this time is certainly different. But if Bitcoin dominance simply just goes to 50%, we are going to see ridiculous money made in this group, okay? We will see ridiculous money made. Like people will have $100,000 portfolios right now and they'll be millionaires in a few months' time. If that happens. If that happens. It's a big if, but you know, it's certainly possible. Like the last time Bitcoin dominance dropped was in that kind of November, December period when alts were pumping. And in that period, Bitcoin dominance dropped very quickly within a couple weeks, essentially, from 61% down to 54% in a few weeks. 61% down to 54%. You don't think in a couple months Bitcoin dominance could drop from 64% down to the low 50s. It doesn't even have to be 50. Like, just drop to 54%, 53%. That'll be enough to give a stupid run with the altcoins. A stupid run. I mean, 10, 20x's on a lot of mid caps, and 5 to 10x's on a lot of the top 150 coins. And we hold the best coins, so we will drastically outperform the average. If the average is like a 3x, we will drastically outperform that, right? That's what people need to realize. Like, if you look at the others chart, I think others is like maybe 70% away from all-time highs. Let's just check. It has gone up since I last checked. Yeah, so the others chart is 74% away from all-time highs. If you don't know what others is, it's essentially an index which shows all the coins market cap combined outside of the top 10. So that would include coins like Casper, Ondo, but it wouldn't include coins like XRP or BNB, right? So it's all the coins outside of the top 10. It's a 74% move away from its all-time high. Now, that might not sound like a lot to some of you guys. You know, maybe you've got a 50K portfolio, a 74%. You're not even going to have 100K with a 74% move on a 50K portfolio. But what you need to realize is we have the best altcoins. We're holding altcoins that are drastically better than average, right? So it's like when someone says, "Oh, let's think about it in terms of like the gym, for example. Oh, you can bench press the average for your age. Average isn't good. Average is average, right? If you can bench press the average for your age group or your weight, maybe would be a better metric, because some people are 100 kg, some people are 60, so it really depends on your weight. But if you can bench the average for your weight, that's not good. That's just the baseline. That's the average. That's the base case. That's the expected case. So it's the same in crypto. The base case really is that we make a 75% move on others, and it could even go higher than that, right? But this is just being conservative. We will outperform that because we are better than average. The average crypto investor is not smart. Okay, the average crypto, and that's not me trying to bash people. I'm not trying to come at it from like an arrogant view or anything like that, but the average investor is not smart. The average investor buys Dogecoin at the top, Shiba Inu at the top. They don't think logically. They don't look into these things deeply like a lot of us guys do, right? Especially the people in the VIP. I mean, these guys are in the top 5% of investors easily. The knowledge they have and the research they do, they're just way more calculated than the average investor. So what people need to realize, if 75% is just like the base case, we will outperform that by orders of magnitude. So, for example, a 75% move on others would probably be a 5 to 10x on many VIP members' portfolios, because they are in the best coins and they have the best methods of investing, exit strategy, and all of that. I sold my Casper for Turbo. What are you, Crypto John? Have we got Crypto John in the house? Selling his Casper for Turbo? How many X's do you see Casper doing if Casper hits 30 cents? Good question. Whatever Casper does, Casper will probably outperform by like 5x minimum. So, so if Casper goes to 30 cents, that's a 3x from here. Casper would probably do like a 15x minimum. If Casper goes to $1, then Casper would probably do 50x plus potentially, but it's not a guarantee that Casper even hits $1. Depends how long this bull market lasts. Hit that like on the way in. Absolutely. Get the likes in. Is there a discount for your Discord? Absolutely. I mean, I don't normally do discounts, so count yourself lucky. It's your lucky day, bro. But there is a current discount available if you use the code ATH. ATH stands for all-time high, and it's a current sale that I'm giving you guys to get into the group. Because the market's pumping. I want to be nice. I want to be kind. And that also applies for current members if you would like to upgrade to lifetime or even the bundle. If you don't know what the bundle is, this allows you to get onto a one-to-one call with myself and have me as a lifetime mentor in the crypto space. So you can personally DM me. We can get on some voice chat calls. We can talk about your portfolio. We can go in depth. And yeah, that's really for the high achievers, the people who are aiming for 7 figures or higher. It's not for everyone. You know, if you've only got a 10K portfolio and you're aiming for 50K, then it's probably not for you, right? I understand that. But if you're aiming for 7 figures, you're aiming for a lot of money and to retire from crypto, then it's the perfect option. I've helped a lot of people retire in crypto already. And, you know, the people on the bundle, they give very good feedback. All the reviews have been 5 stars. Cryptex in the house. How's it going, bro? What up, Archie? Enjoying the Discord. Thank you, man. Glad you're enjoying the Discord. Archie, do you think bull run ends in summer, not Q4? I personally think there won't be a pullback and third top. Your thoughts? Thanks. Yeah, I think we end in the summer. I think so. Maybe the fall, but I don't see Q4. Q2 to Q3, I've said consistently. I've said that for over a year. I stand by that. What happened with Cetus? I explained that earlier on in the stream. There was a hack with Cetus, and I believe they're already putting the measures in place to restore the money that was lost. So I'm personally not very concerned. I don't think this is going to affect Sui too much in the long run. Even in the short run, it hasn't really affected the price too much. Sui is, in fact, up today 0.8%. So it's hardly had an effect on the price when you are still up on the day. If Bitcoin hits 120K, will you sell your altcoins all at once or gradually over about a month? Yeah, the latter. I wouldn't sell them all at once. Because quite often what happens is Bitcoin forms a high. It consolidates for a couple weeks. Sometimes even comes back up a little bit later, hits that high again. And the alts quite often don't pump in the first wave. They sometimes pump in the second wave. So, for example, you can see what I've drew out here on the chart. This is just hypothetical, okay? No one knows what's going to happen in the market, okay? I want to be very clear about that. Even the best analysts, they don't always get it right. Okay, I've done well in crypto. I become a millionaire at 18 from crypto, but it doesn't mean I know it all. There's going to be many times where I don't get things right. And even if I'm right 8 out of 10 times, 2 out of 10 times I'm wrong. So I want to make that clear as well. But this is just one kind of hypothetical situation that I'm drawing out here. Yes, you should sell some of your altcoins maybe here, right? Take a bit of profits. But the second wave quite often is the one where the biggest gains are made because that's when all the greed comes in. Right now, people are still a little bit on the fence about altcoins, but I feel like when we consolidate for a little bit and then we start coming back up, that's when the altcoins will go ballistic. That's when they'll go crazy. When do you think is the right time to exit the market? Well, you should have been in the voice chat today, my friend, on the Discord, because we talked about this for about 5 hours. We talked about this on the voice chat for about 5 hours. But I can't get it all into one question, man. It's a very in-depth, loaded question. Best time to sell is when Bitcoin looks overextended. because quite often altcoins follow Bitcoin. They are essentially beta plays to Bitcoin. So this whole idea of Bitcoin topping out and then 3 months later, all the altcoins top out, that's a load of, utter hogwash, in my opinion. The idea that Bitcoin could top out this week and then 3 months later, altcoins top out. I don't see that. Usually altcoins top out within days or at worst weeks from Bitcoin topping out. People spread all sorts of BS, all sorts of false narratives in crypto. This idea that we need QE in order to pump, another BS narrative. We don't have QE right now, and look at what's happening to the Bitcoin price. So there's all sorts of ideas which are thrown around willy-nilly when people haven't even researched these things. They just like to hold on to some sort of easy answer. And right now, the thing I'm seeing everyone talk about, which is concerning me a little bit, is the M2 money supply idea. Oh, we're following M2 money supply to the T. Yeah, we are right now, but maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, number one. And number two, just because we're following something right now doesn't mean we're always going to follow it. Eventually it will break. Eventually it will crack. And number three, it's probably mainly correlation rather than like direct causation, like direct cause and effect. Yes, we're correlating with it, and we are following it, but I wouldn't say it's like always going to be direct causation. Like, if that makes sense to some people, I don't know if it makes sense, but yeah, we're certainly following M2 money supply right now. But is the reason we're following it because everyone's looking at it? Or is the reason we're following it because it's a natural organic metric to follow with Bitcoin, right? I don't know. I think it's mainly a lot of people are looking at it. A lot of people are talking about it. And for that reason, it's coming into reality. It's known as a self-fulfilling prophecy. But then some people would argue with the fibs. That's what happens. Everyone looks at the fibs, so then it tops at the fib levels because everyone's looking at it rather than actually it being caused by the fibs itself. But that's more of an in-depth scientific argument about indicators. So that discount is on any of your VIP tiers, including lifetime. Absolutely. The discount applies to lifetime, yearly, every single membership essentially on my page. And it's going to be gone in a couple days. So, by the time you blink, it will be gone essentially. So I would recommend, if you're going to consider it, do it now, because by the time you remember to do it again, maybe in a few days' time, it will be gone. It's just purely a gesture of kindness from me because the markets are pumping. I don't need to do a discount. If anything, I should do a price hike because of the demand and because of the value of the group. But sometimes it's good to be nice, right? And give people an opportunity to get in. Take Sui off that list? What do you mean, bro? Sui's been literally one of the best performing coins all cycle. What world are you in? Sick portfolio, Archie. Thank you, man. Thanks for the live streams. Appreciate the consistency. Let's get the likes up. Appreciate that. Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, everyone asking about the Sui hack. I've already talked about it. Okay, go to the beginning of the stream. First 5 minutes, I discussed it. I'm not concerned. It wasn't even a hack on Sui. It was Cetus. How quickly would you say the baton gets passed to the blue chips, mid caps, and low caps? Great question. Yeah, very, very intelligent question. So there's no set rule with this. It can be as quick as like a few days. It could be a few weeks it takes. But I would say we're very, very close to that pivot point where people start looking at taking some profits on Bitcoin and moving it to the next catch-up trade, which the most logical one would be Ethereum. When you look at the Ethereum chart, It's very far off its all-time highs, even still. If you're a Bitcoin whale, you've got $20 million in Bitcoin. Even if you just sell 5 million for Ethereum, logically it makes sense, right? Like it's a bit of a catch-up trade. You get in, you get out in a few months' time. It makes sense as an investor why people would do that. So I think this big trend line, if you zoom out, every single time it's gotten hit, we have actually rejected, and it stems all the way back to 2017, and it's marked every single major high on the BTC chart, every major cyclical high. We're approaching that very closely now. Okay, we're at 111.7.8 right now, and if the trend line was to be hit today, the trend line would be around 113 to 114K. So I think there's a solid chance we hit this, we reject, we cool off for a little bit. Where we will cool off to, I don't exactly know. Maybe we cool off to 104K. Maybe we cool off to 94K. I don't know exactly where it'll be. Interestingly, for this point of contention that I drew out, 104K would be the 236, so it's possible we only retrace to there. 98K would be the 382. The 0.5 level, which quite often gets hit, would be 94K, and that golden pocket region would be around 89K. So any of those levels, I think realistically could get hit, and we'd still be in a very healthy bull market. What isn't healthy is when you have this many green candles consecutively, eventually the market gets overextended, it becomes inorganic, it's too bullish, and you have a drawdown. And quite often, the bigger you go up, the bigger the drawdown lower will be. So I hope that it's more of a steady growing bull run, and we can kick this can down the road for a few more months before we top out. But if we keep pumping really quickly here, the top could literally be any week. I don't want it to be like that. And it doesn't matter what I want. Obviously, the market will do what the market does. But I think if we do have a little cool off over the next few weeks, that could then allow us to head up higher in maybe June, July, August time, right? But either way, things are looking good. Things are looking, really good. But yeah, I think money will start pouring into Ethereum and Solana and those types of coins basically imminently. And then once they have a pump for a couple of weeks, you'll see some of the mid caps and smaller caps really start to ramp it up. Sui hack. Man, how many people are asking about the Sui hack? It wasn't hacked. People need to realize this. Sui was not hacked. It was the liquidity provider for Sui. It was Cetus which actually had a hack. And I believe they're already in the process of fixing things. And what people need to realize, even if it was Sui that had a hack, pretty much all the coins have had a hack. All the coins in the top 20 have had a hack. All the layer ones. And they've all overcame them. Guys, interestingly now, we are seeing a situation where Ethereum's slightly outpacing Bitcoin, which is really good news for altcoin investors. Today, Bitcoin's up 4.5%, Ethereum's up 7.5%. So that's the kind of thing we want to see. If this can stay like this now for a few more days and weeks, that's going to be amazing for altcoin investors. But we're not even in extreme greed on the fear and greed. I don't really take the fear and greed too seriously. But we are currently at 73, which isn't even extreme greed. Once you see it in the 80s, that's when you really want to consider pulling out. Just got in the big bundle with the ATH code. Yay, congrats. Welcome to the big bundle. Great decision. Great decision. I mean, the big bundle is really your best bet to fast tracking wealth in crypto, because you get to get on a call with me, which I look forward to doing with yourself. And you get to basically DM me and reach out to me at any point. So, whether it's 2 a.m. for you, 5 a.m. for you, whatever time it is, if you've got a question, you can drop me a message. I'm always there. I do sleep usually about 8 hours of the day. So that 8-hour period, I won't be able to respond. But the other 16 hours, I will be there and I'll be able to respond. So It really is a great option, and you have me for life. So, if I'm still doing this in 5, 10, 15 years time, then you'll still have my services. And there's already been a ton of people get on this and, had great success. So I do recommend it. It's obviously not for everyone. There is a bit of a price point there, which will price a lot of people out, but it's not made for everyone. I'm only taking on a very small cohort of people. I don't want to have too many. And eventually I will completely get rid of it because there'll be too many people on it. And the nature of the service is that it's obviously very tight-knit, specialized service to a few people. So I can't have 100 people on this. I can only have a very select number. But yeah, this others chart, this is what kind of fills me with confidence. The alts are still pretty early on in their move. We're just kind of in a weird situation where Bitcoin is well into a bull run. Bitcoin's well into a full-blown bull run, but alts are still drastically lagging behind. And unfortunately, the catch-up, are we going to have time? That's the one thing that's really in my mind, is the fact that if this was a normal cycle, Ethereum would probably be around $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 right now. If this was a normal cycle with traditional money flow down from Bitcoin and with, traditional time-based pumps. Ethereum's gone way off course, and there's no denying that. If you deny that, then you're blind, right? It's right in front of you. But we don't even need it to go to 8K. We don't even need it to go to 10K. If Ethereum simply goes to 5K, the money that will be made on Sui, on Casper, on Tau, on Sei, on some of these other coins will be phenomenal. So we don't even need it to go that high. We just need 4 or 5K ETH and we'll be happy. Yeah, the voice chat has a lot of different viewpoints. Some people are doomers for sure. Some people are very, very bullish. Like HD Crypto thinks we could go to 200K this bull run. But a lot of people think maybe we only go to 120, 130, 140. There's a lot of diversity in the viewpoints of the cycle. But if everyone had the same view, it'd be boring. Okay, nice. After the stream, Bren's going to be in the voice chat hunting some gems, hunting some memes and some low caps. Great stuff. That'll be great. M2 looks like a prophecy. Could be the fact that everyone is talking about it. Market tends to do the opposite. Yeah. Look, eventually this M2 hogwash is going to be invalidated. Like right now, it looks fine. It looks like it's working, but eventually it's going to decouple. And everyone who's still set on that belief set, they're all going to get wrecked. So this is why it's really important as an investor to not hang on to one indicator. Like have a diversity of indicators in your arsenal. Like I look at the M2, I look at all these different indicators. There's actually a website with all the top indicators. I've forgotten what it's called, but I'm sure if you just search Bitcoin top indicators, I'm sure it'll come up. If anyone knows in the chat the exact website name, is it CoinGlass? But, the thing is as well, a lot of these indicators that people talk about, they're all a load of BS as well. Like the rainbow chart, the idea that the rainbow chart is the best thing to look at for predicting the bull market, that's another one that's going to get a lot of people wrecked. Because what does the rainbow chart probably has us going to like 200K plus if you go off that. And then the pi cycle one, despite its accuracy last cycle, I don't even believe it was around in 2017. I think the pi cycle indicator was actually made last cycle. So, yeah, it's great in hindsight saying it would have predicted 2017, but it wasn't the case at the time because it wasn't around. And then you've got Bitcoin dominance, which people go off. But then Bitcoin dominance, there's no guarantee with Bitcoin dominance. It doesn't owe you anything. Bitcoin dominance will do its thing. It will keep going up if it wants. So a lot of these indicators, they're very hit or miss, in my opinion. They sound great. They sound really nerdy. But when you really get into them, they're not the best, a lot of them. So, yeah, I'm not one of those guys where basically you've got all the different indicators and when they all get hit, then you sell. No, I mean, I only need like 10 or 20% of the indicators to flash in order for me to sell because they're definitely not all going to flash. It would be way too easy if it was that way. How do existing members get that discount? You can get the discount by altering your membership plan. So if you're on VIP monthly, you can change it to lifetime and then you get the discount. If you change it, if you extend your membership to a longer time frame, then it will work. I'm having a hard time trying to buy Caspi in the US. It's on one exchange you can use. Man, Caspi's looking ready to pump. Once Casper starts pumping, this thing's gonna go crazy, I think. But obviously, don't put a lot in. Don't over allocate. Try CoinX or xt.com. One of those works. But those are pretty shady exchanges, so don't put a ton of money in them. They're pretty shady. Yeah, the bundles for a select number of members. It's not for everyone. And I never claimed it to be. Don't smaller market caps have bigger upside? Well, based on conventional wisdom, you would think that, but it's not always like that. You know, just because something's smaller in market cap doesn't mean it's always going to do better. For example, there's plenty of coins which are smaller caps that didn't outperform Sui. For example, if you would have bought something called Tectum, when I bought Sui, you would be down 99% right now, 98%. Had you bought Sui, you'd be up 4x. So just because something's smaller in market cap doesn't mean it will pump more. That's a common fallacy and a common trope that a lot of people in crypto fall for. It's not all about market cap hunting. If it was that simple, you just buy a coin that has a market cap of 50K and then assume that it's going to 100x, but it doesn't work like that. People have moved on in crypto from merely looking at market caps. People more so look at the actual fundamentals of the coin now. So I guarantee you 99% of people here, if you pick a coin that's below 10 million in market cap and I pick a coin that's above $1 billion, I will outperform you. Like, because most coins below 50 million in market cap, they're just a disaster. They just rug, they go to zero, they don't do anything. It's always that 1 in 10 coin which pumps. It's very rare that you'll get, unless you really know what you're doing, right? Like with gaming coins, for example, in the past, I really knew what I was doing. I really knew what I was doing with gaming. So I flourished. I made a lot of money. Right now, gaming isn't very hot, so I'm not really dabbling into gaming too much. But if you really know what you're doing, for example, in memes or whatever, and you've got a really good success rate, then that's fine. But most people in here, if you go and pick a coin below 50 million in market cap, I bet you, honestly, I bet you Say would outperform it. I bet you Aero would outperform it. I bet Ondo would outperform it. I bet Casper would outperform it. I bet Sui. I bet Tau. I bet most of these blue chips, which you would say are boring and bad because they're high, most of them would outperform your coin, just statistically, because most coins below 50 million do not do well. It's only that rare exception that you get, which then, yeah, maybe it could do a 50x and outperform them, but it's not a reality for most people. Can we get the bundle even if we start with 100K? Of course, 100K is a good amount. You can make $1 million with 100K. I just don't recommend the bundle for someone who has only got like a 10K portfolio, because you're already then down 4K, right? 3.9K. You're already down if you get the bundle with a 10K portfolio. So, you know, some people would tell you, yeah, get it, right? Just to boost their own sales. But I'm not going to do that. Like, I truly want the best for you guys. And if you've got a portfolio of 10K, the best option for you is not to get the bundle. The best option for you is to go for the VIP and pay less. But if you've got a portfolio of 100K, then buying the bundle will only put you down 3%. So you're taking a 3% loss to potentially massively outperform the rest of the market, which I think is definitely worth it. You're taking a 3% loss to maybe make a 10x. If you think about it like that. Now, nothing's a guarantee, right? But your chances of success are drastically increased. Mm. 30% Pepe, 20% Sui, 10% Ondo, Tau, Fartcoin, please rate. Pretty risky, bro. I would never be 30% in one meme. But yeah. Besides that, it's pretty good. I don't get how that adds up to 100% though. 30% Pepe, 20% Sui, and then 10% in the rest. That would be 60%. That math does not math. So you've got a portfolio that's only 60%. What's the other 40% in? Is it in Bitcoin? Bobby Freedom? Yeah, bro, I do. I'm a Christian, but I don't want to bring this into the stream, you know? Like, we sometimes talk about these things in the VIP voice chats, but I want to keep it crypto on the stream, you know? But I do. How much X do you think Nacho could get by the end of 2025? 5X maybe. I'm not super bullish on Nacho, I've got to be honest. I think you're better off just buying Casper than Nacho. Nacho's exchanges are really, they're a bit disappointed, man. Considering it's the biggest meme coin on Casper, the exchanges are quite disappointing. It's got worse exchange listings than Caspi, and the market cap is like 4 or 5 times higher, or 4 times higher. So it just doesn't make sense to me to buy this one when Caspi has the same, if not better, listings with like a quarter of the market cap. I think the market corrects after Trump's announcement today. It very well could. I mean, what do you guys think in the chat about this big beautiful bill thing that Trump is passing, or Congress is passing? Because we've got massive cuts coming with this. And yeah, obviously this can worry people sometimes when you try and cut. When you try and cut a lot in an economy that's how the US is, where you've got a massive deficit, and people just don't like it. Like, people, if you saw what happened in the UK with Liz Truss, Liz Truss tried to do massive, drastic cuts to tax, and essentially the bankers and the big elites basically rugged her. Essentially, they said, "No, you're not doing that. Get out," and she had to resign. Now, I'm not saying that will happen with Trump. The US is a lot different, but cutting tax and these types of things, it's not always anticipated in a positive manner by markets. Quite often markets can respond to the opposite end. But yeah, man, this market looks good. It's looking good. 111k Bitcoin, 111.8. Ethereum picking up the pace a little bit here, starting to outpace Bitcoin by a little bit. What about the altcoins? Let's take a look at some of the coins that we hold. Say is up a nice 7.7% today. Tau is doing really well. Tau's up 9% today. 9% up on the day for Tau. I was buying this one as low as the 190s. I was buying some Tau. Sui obviously had that kind of FUD event, but it's picking back up a little bit. What else? Render. How's Render doing? Up 11% on Render today. Really good. What else? Aerodrome. Let's take a look at Arrow. 7% up. So we're not getting those crazy gains just yet. We're not getting those crazy gains, but we are getting gains, which is great. But nothing too crazy yet. IO.net up 15%. That's pretty good. What about some of the low caps? Caspi barely up today. Caspi's a great buy, actually. Casper's only up 5%. That's probably why Caspi's not pumping too much. What about Mavia? How's Mavia doing? Only up 5%. So the low caps aren't moving yet. The blue chips are actually outperforming the low caps currently. And that kind of links into what I was saying earlier about first Bitcoin moves, then it passes the baton onto Ethereum, then from Ethereum, the mid caps, the blue chips, then the mid caps, then the low caps. That's kind of what's happening right now. So I don't expect the low caps to pump until probably a few weeks' time. But I do expect the blue chips to start really ramping it up very soon. And if we do get any dips, if we do get any big opportunities to buy, you guys know what I'll be doing. I'll be sending out some buy alerts. I'll be pouncing because I've got some cash on the side right now. Only about 2% of my portfolio, but I've got a little bit of cash. And, I'm willing to deploy that money if we do get some good opportunities. So, like I've said, guys, a few times on this stream, get on the VIP group. There's a current sale available. It's not going to be there for long. It's going to be gone in a couple of days. So make sure to make full use of that. It applies to all the membership options, including lifetime. And like I said, it will be gone very soon. As soon as it goes, you'll be subject to the increased prices. You only review projects that I hold. Mostly on these live streams, because a lot of people come to the streams of scammy coins trying to rug people and promote scams. So mainly I only talk about the projects I hold or the projects I know. If I don't know your project and I've never heard of it, I'll probably not check it out on this live stream just in case it's a scam, because people do come in trying to get people wrecked with scam coins. But on the VIP live streams, we do in-depth project reviews, and in the group calls, which we do daily, we do project reviews. But people come to the streams of all sorts of different coins, thousands of different coins every stream. Maybe if you drop a super chat, then I'll know there's a bit of legitimacy. You're probably not trying to scam the whole stream, but even then, sometimes people do that and they try and scam people. But I do coin reviews on the VIP streams and in the voice chats. And I know that there's going to be a voice chat open actually straight after this stream. Bren said he's going to be in the voice chat, so he'll be looking at some memes, looking at some low caps. You guys can join in and do some market research with him. But yeah, guys, use that discount code. It'll be gone very, very soon. Make sure to use it. Don't forget. It applies to every membership option in the group, including the bundle. And yeah, I'll see you guys over in the Discord. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you have a great rest of your Thursday. And smash a like on the stream if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Goodbye.